Hello, hello, you talented stars and starlets. It's your hashtag stage mom here. And what I decided to do for Fridays, I wanted to start a new segment called Fortune Fridays, where I bring out the cards and maybe give you some direction, some encouragement for what's going on in your life and in your career, especially if you're in the entertainment world. I work in the arts, and so I understand that there's a lot of energies that we don't know how to deal with within the industry. And so let's see if the cards can help us channel our energy and kind of figure out what we need to do next. Right now, we are in quarantine or self-isolated, as we're still really dealing with COVID-19. But if you are to stumble onto this reading at another time, these readings are still timeless. So whatever message the card actually give, it that will still be meaningful for you. It just, if I speak anything about quarantine or self-isolation, it just means that I'm just talking about my personal situation kind of right now. So I just want everybody just to kind of get centered and tune in a little bit. I know that a lot of artists really identify with what they do. Actually, all people, not all, but most people really identify with their careers as to represent who they are. And right now, because we are being self-isolated and millions of us are not at our jobs or working or consistently doing that thing that was our identity, it's kind of like we are forced to kind of look at ourselves and look inward and see, who am I really? If I don't have this as my job to represent who I am, well, who am I? What do I do? And so I know that there's a lot of anxiety for people that, especially in entertainment industry, that don't know what to do now or what to do next. So I would love to give a reading for all you that are having any anxiety towards self-identity or how to cope and interact with self-isolation and quarantine. So let's just get a couple cards going. This looks good. This looks good. I'll start with these three for now. So we have the moon. And I find that really interesting that the moon has come out right now. We are still in the energy of the super pink moon that just happened a couple days ago in Libra. So that might come up. And we have the Six of Cups. And we have the Queen of Cups in reverse. So cups in general, they kind of talk about emotions. They talk about intuition. They talk about relationships. It's water. It's very, very emotional. But sometimes, like for instance, Pisces, they are a water sign and they are very watery and very emotional. And so since I'm speaking to artists collectively or people in the entertainment industry specifically, obviously this reading is meant for anybody who stumbles onto it. I feel as though right now you have the opportunity to kind of look at what's been going on in your past. A lot of creatives have had a lot of wounds that they've, some trials and tribulations that they've gone through growing up. And in their past, that actually helps paint and color the creative work that they do. You know, writers are inspired by some of their stories, whether they're amazingly good as we might measure them, or as they also could be very tragic. Same with a lot of singers, so they use some of the pain that they've gone through to use that as an opportunity to release this and share this with the world. And so I feel that right now, that aside from what you had identified with as being your career avenue of choice, there might be some other artistic sides of yourself that maybe it's time for you to start looking into and maybe start putting some energy and focus on that. So I feel like this is a time for healing some old wounds that you may have had. Anything that you might have put, usually these type of old wounds happen up until like age of 7. It could be, you were yelled at by a parent, or, you were made fun of in school, or even something more traumatic and tragic may have happened in this time. But it's kind of these cards like the Six of Cups. The Six of Cups talks about going into the past and remembering things of your youth. And sometimes these actually could also be really, really happy memories. I feel that the only reason why I feel that they might be sad, or they might be more tragic or traumatic, is because we have the Queen in reverse. And any reverse cards that I see are usually blocked energy. So I feel that there's kind of like a need to go and look into the past and see what emotional trauma that you might have experienced, and use, like, really, really work through it. Maybe speak to somebody online, either a coach or some sort of therapist to maybe go through hypnosis or whatnot, to see if you are maybe have any deep wounds that you may have not have maybe looked at, or maybe you put aside, or maybe you thought that you've moved past, but really in the end that you still have them kind of bumbling underneath. And so now this is a time for you to go back and look at your past, look at your childhood, and maybe this is going to be a catalyst for you to create something new. Maybe it's write a story to help you process the emotions that you went through, any traumas that you went through as a younger child. So it's like this is an opportunity for you to really, really look in and create some new work that's just maybe different from the image or the persona that you've had from now. It's kind of like now's your opportunity to deal with any trauma and use the arts and create the creative world to be able to help channel that. And what is, I think, the gift and the magic of artists is that they are able to connect really deeply with their own personal pain or triumphs or whatever. They're just able to be super vulnerable with themselves and share that with the world. And I feel like this is an opportunity for you to maybe do some healing emotionally, and with that healing emotionally, being able to connect to maybe a new audience when we come out of this self-isolation stage, or when, it's an opportunity to shift and change. So looking at your past right now is a really, really important, your emotional past, like things that have really affected you. This card is generally about memories and childhood and what you can reminisce and look back at all these memories. And so I just been feeling that some of these memories might be traumatic, so that's why I'm saying this, but these could also be really great memories. These could be memories of you with a grandparent. This could be memories of you learning to ride a bike. Just something about the nostalgia of your youth that I feel needs to be remembered and looked at and used as an opportunity to channel some new creative energy and put it towards something new, a story, a song, a movie, whatever, however you decide to channel it. I think it's an opportunity to show a new side of yourself and connect with a new audience. Maybe even if you start putting this work out before we are kind of back to normal, if that's ever going to be a thing. But I do feel that it's just really an amazing opportunity for you to do any personal healing, to kind of look more inward at yourself and see what you can shift, change, how you can grow, and how you can use what you've been through, what you're going through, to share with your audience. And that vulnerability is like the connection, and that's what I think the gift is of all actors or artists, or however you communicate with the world. I feel as though that is your superpower and that's your magic. So really looking at some things that you might have not have looked at in a really long time. So in conjunction with the Queen of Cups, so I feel that it's like coming into your emotional power. So like I was saying before, that if you've had any traumatic incidences or whatnot that's happened in your past, and you're using it to channel it, becoming, instead of putting it aside, being empowered by these things and knowing that these are part of what makes you you, and you being able to use that to help or to connect with other people. That is, and I'll say it again, your superpower. That's what makes every artist an individual. That's what makes us connect with all talented people, is that they're able to be super vulnerable and show us their heart. I had an acting coach once, and she's always like, whenever, you know, you had to do, say, an emotional scene about a very sensitive topic, she would be crying, and she'd be like, just make sure that you tell the truth about that story, because somebody in the audience has lived that experience, and you need to honor that person. And I'd always be, I could probably cry right now if I really kind of think about how much it affected me when she said it, but it rings so true that there's so many people that are looking to artists and creative people to connect with them and to have them be heard and have their stories be told, and for them to just feel understood and loved and not alone. And so I feel like this is an opportunity for you to find more ways to connect with more people, because, you know, you've gone and you faced some of the things that are going on within yourself. And this also goes in line with the moon. It's another water sign. And the moon talks about things that are hidden and things that are unseen. And, you know, when we work in our field, especially in the entertainment, actually in all industries, we always kind of put on a mask of, this is who I am, this is who I'm showing up in the world. And the moon is the things that are kind of hidden and unseen. And I feel like there's more beneath the surface than what you've been comfortable in showing and sharing. And so now it's like, what is behind the surface? What more can you bring out, and what more can you share with the world? You know, the moon is so powerful. It's able to, you know, the tides, like, it goes with the moon. Women's cycles move with the moon. Like, it's such a powerful energy. This could also mean, I've been speaking mostly about maybe an emotional journey that you might need to go to find a new creative way to express maybe things that you've experienced in your past. But the moon also is a way to use that energy to manifest and move things and shift things. Like, once a month, there's so much energy. You know, people say don't go out on a full moon because people go crazy. Like, a lot of more interesting situations, will say, happen during the full moon because there's so much energy, and our bodies are 70 plus percent water, and the moon moves water. So right now, it's like, you got to move that water energy and you got to shift it. You have to really learn to understand, like, your emotional life. And I feel like starting with things that you may have put aside from your past is going to be your first step in changing the way you look at yourself, and maybe developing a new audience and a new avenue for your artistry. So let's see what else is happening her. So I have, that's a great card, Page of Pentacles, Ten of Wands, Ten of Cups, and Page of Wands in reverse. So they're very interesting cards. So pages are generally messengers, but they also can represent like a childlike energy. whenever I see the Page of Pentacles personally, I always think of it as a messenger. That's my first thought. And Pentacles, so they talk about the material world, usually about finances, home life, money, abundance, in the material world, sometimes school. So this, whenever I see it, especially when I'm talking to creatives and artists and people in the entertainment industry, is that they're gonna get good news financially. It could be that CERB, C-E-R-B, I live in Canada, Toronto, Canada, and so most people are starting to get their financial assistance from the government for COVID, but it could also mean, though, that you're going to get a call from your agent, or that you might be asked to collaborate on something, or you might have an opportunity to work on something, and they just call you. It's like you're going to get some good financial news. And whenever I see this card for, say, if I'm reading for an actor friend of mine, they always book a series, or they they get a voice kit, whatever it works for them. It's usually something that's going to be financially gained through their creativity. So that sounds really, really good for me. I think also, as I say before, about all the work that you're going to be doing on yourself and your emotional life. I think because once you start getting into meditation and using the energy of the moon, and really get into yourself, you start resonating, having a different vibration, and it's a vibration that's really attractive, and you'll start attracting abundance when you start living your purpose more than you have been before. Now is an opportunity to really, really excel in your purpose. If you're going to start doing the work to look at your emotional life, and then you're like, oh, I feel like I need to write a short story or a film about what I experienced and how I'm coping with my past and my history. And then you'll get a call being like, hey, we're looking for some collaborators on blah, 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 blah. So that's what this card means. Just keep on doing what you're doing. Start looking more inward at yourself, and you're going to get some, I'd say, good financial news. That's pretty eminent. A messenger of good financial news. The Ten of Wands, though, is saying it's generally a card of a burden. The wands talk about passion. They talk about creativity. They talk about, it's a fire card. And so since we're talking about artists, this is great. Tens are new beginnings with lessons learned. But with this particular 10, it's kind of there's a bit of a burden that, it's you have the weight on your shoulders. And that could just be maybe your hesitancy of things being different. If you're used to making your money a certain way, and you're used to, getting up and doing this, and this is how your life has been, and you've been working on this show, or you've been, with your band, and you've been recording different things, and these are things that you can't really do anymore. And maybe you feel like there's a burden for you to maintain your status as an artist, or where it's you feel as though you may fall off the map, and you're going to lose everything that you built up until now. Well, just be reminded that every single person in the world, not just in the entertainment industry, in the world, are in the same position as you. And so know that it's kind of everything's at a stop, not just you. And so nobody's surpassing you and you're being left behind. Everybody's at the same spot. So that's why right now is the perfect time for you to shift, grow, change, get new material, find something else that you love, passion. I've been doing TikToks. I'm loving TikToks right now, but creating videos like this one, whatever it is, it's use it as an opportunity, because it's a new beginning, but with lessons learned. Take everything that you've learned in your lifetime up until now, all the things that you've done creatively up until now, and shift and change it to something completely new that will put you on the map for something completely different. And so that, say we never go back to the way things were, that you can you have something else that you're impassioned by, that you are excited to work on, that you've learned to connect with your audience in a completely different way. So I understand how there could be a little bit of resistance for, having to change and feeling as though we're trapped and we're unable to do what we're familiar with. But right now is the time to be comfortable in the uncomfortability, to use that as a catalyst to be like, okay, this is a problem, and how am I going to solve it? What can I do to solve this problem? How can I change? How can I benefit from the situation that I'm in? There's a quadrillion ways that you can change your thoughts about like how you are dealing with self-isolation. And I would say share what you're doing to cope with the world, because if you have any sort of social capital within the industry, then you will be helping so many millions of people about how to start living more of them purpose and living more of themselves, and understanding that once you strip away the identity that we've come to decide who we were, now we can actually really all truly learn who we are. And if you share yourself going through these transformations and these resistance, I'm not going to say trouble, resistance, then you are going to help so many people. And it's the next card, it's another 10. So this is like, you guys have been through a lot. And if you guys start doing some work on, the past, like I've been talking about, you have like the end goal is amazing. Like what's to come is amazing. This is one of the best cards in the deck. It's like everything's come together, your home life, your financial life, your love life, all of it is, you're just supremely happy. And it's really positive to me that it's like you're going to have an opportunity to use things from your past to help and share with other people, shed the persona that you've always had up until now, use it to morph and change into somebody not new, but who you really have always been, and sharing that new, more authentic version of yourself, less mask, more heart, with your audience. It's like, then you're going to be rewarded by the full package, like having the euphoria of the utopia of life. This is a really beautiful card. It's really positive. And actually, the actual card's really pretty too. And then lastly, I have the Page of Wands in reverse. So pages are messengers, as I said before. Wands are about passion, creativity, fire. And so I wonder if it's kind of saying that maybe you're getting some ideas, creative ideas, that you might be like blocking or saying, no, I don't want to do that, or no, I can't do that, or, that's not who I am. I'm not, say you are an actor, and you've always had, in the back of your mind that you want to sing, or you want to play music and sing in a band. But you never went down that road. You went down the actor road. Well, right now, with all the healing that you're doing and all the looking at your past, at things that you love, things that you've experienced, positive and negative, and you're using that to open your heart, shift, change, and grow, and create something new, I feel as though right now you might be resisting any ideas that might be coming towards you, because you may feel as though that's not your brand, or that's not who you are. But now is the time to shift who you think you are and kind of look inward to who you truly are and who you're going to be presenting now to the world. And so I feel like you're getting tons of really interesting creative ideas. Maybe there's like a song that's like in your head. Maybe, you want to get the paintbrush out and do some painting. Like right now, it's the time to just experiment with all those things that, they're not who you are. It's just play. Just have fun, play. Pages are a childlike spirit, and Wands, creativity. So let's just be childlike and play with our creativity, play with, all different mediums. just use it as your own personal school and just dive deep within you and pull out everything that you can and try so many new things. I wish you guys so much good luck. I can see like amazing things that are going to be happening for you guys, because you're going to realize that once you start pulling out all these parts within you, creatively, like emotionally, like everything, once it all is kind of out there and you're having creative hits and artistic inspiration, like what you guys are going to create and come up with, I am so excited to see. So I do want to just leave you guys off with one last card or two. Six of Wands and Justice in reverse. Well, Six of Wands is a card of triumph. It's a card of recognition. It's a card of, in the traditional tarot deck, it's coming back from the war and put up on the shoulders and people being celebrating you. And so I feel that the celebration of you is coming soon, like now, like with these two cards kind of combined, like it is happening for you. The Justice card in reverse, it's a major arcana, so that's about life's major events and changes. I think this is kind of referring to right now, this also represents Libra, and because I was talking about the supermoon in Libra, it's like maybe you're not allowing yourself to be inspired by the moon and creativity and your intuition. It's you're still in your head about certain things, I would say, and that I think that you need to get out of your head, go deep within your heart, allow yourself to get spiritual messages, get the guidance that you need. Anything is inspiration. You're not having these random thoughts for no reason. Write them down and take a look at, why am I thinking about that? Or, when I was younger, I used to love this. Like, why do I love that? Can I do something like that right now? Right now is the time to get out of your head and start getting into your heart and playing with the ideas and playing with new versions of yourself and going deep and getting new inspiration. So I know it's a little bit heavy, and I want that just to be, I want to invite you to go inward and go deep, because the reward is going to be so big. This is the reward. That's like excellent. And this is your reward. That is excelente. So I hope you guys enjoyed this reading. Please subscribe down below. Hit the bell if you want to hear more content. Again, this is Fortune Fridays, where I do a fortune reading of some sort. I see good fortune for all of you in your future. And I will see you in the spotlight. Take care.